strictly prohibited, and we request you all to maintain the decorum of this session. Kindly keep yourselves on mute. I hope you all have a good time. Thank you. Before I pass it on to Rama-san for brief introduction of Sakura Nihongo Resource Center, I would like to give a small introduction about Miss Divya Bharat. Miss Divya Bharat, Principal of Harvest International School, Innovation Campus, brings over 13 plus years of rich experience in education and academic leadership. With strong foundation in psychology MA and education B.Ed, she has led reputed institutions like DAV Group of Schools, Chrysalis High, and Spurthy Global School. She is known for her student-centric approach, believing every child is unique and deserves a learning experience tailored to their strengths. Her leadership style is rooted in innovation, having introduced creative real-life teaching methods across subjects like English, science, social studies, and life skills. As an academic manager, she successfully trained over 1,000 educators across 145 schools in 9 states. Ms. Divya is deeply committed to holistic development, integrating technology into the classroom and ensuring emotional and mental well-being through counseling and personalized attention. She partners closely with parents, valuing their expectations and working collaboratively to meet them, fostering a strong, supportive school community. Now I pass it on to Ms. Rama-san so she can introduce Sakura Nihongo Resource Center. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. Thank you very much, Ashwija-san, for this wonderful session and the intro about Divya-san. Once again, thank you very much, Divya-san, for accepting and being our Michi speaker today amidst your busy schedules. Okay, just before we get started, I know everyone is waiting to hear from Divya-san the input she's going to share. But before we get started, let me quickly introduce SNRC. Some of you might be our students, many of you might not be. So I would like to introduce SNRC to you so that you know what are the services that SNRC caters to. Just give me a second. I hope you are able to view my screen. Right. So we are called as Sakura Nihongo Resource Center. We are a core Japanese language services company. We've been established in the year 2000 and have been in this industry and in this niche space for 26 years now. So last year being our 25th year, Silver Jubilee celebrations happened very well. We were honored to have the Council General of Japan as our guest of honor with all dignitaries from many corporates, our clients, and many of our students. So, as an organization, for us, our students individually who come and learn with us, and our corporates who are, I would say, our bread and butter, and of course, our association with colleges and universities has been for such a long time that we feel we are a part of them, right? So we are exclusively into Japanese language services only. Anything and everything related to Japan and Japanese is where we are, right? So Divya-san, as a principal of an academic institution, would surely agree that the backbone of any learning institute is their trainers, right? So without them, we would not be able to survive. The best efforts what the trainers put, of course, conglomerated with the other services, is what an institute is known for. So here at this juncture, we are actually now at 1,500 Google reviews, all organic, shared by our own students, both corporate and individual. We are able to come be here in this niche area again. So a big bow to our trainers, both Indians and the Japanese native trainers who have been our backbone. So, to talk about the services, as I said, majorly we've been catering to corporates. So it could be anything related to Japanese, as I said, be it trainings, be it document translations, interpretations. Then two very niche programs of SNRC have been sensitizing Indians about Japanese culture and business etiquette. And on the other hand, there are a lot of Japanese expats here in India. So sensitizing them about the Indian mindset, right? And last but not the least is the bilingual placements. So placement, I mean, we give you a 360-degree angle of learning. That is why you start learning to finally get into your dream jobs. So it takes you through a 360-degree curve. So some of the clients which we have been closely working, and many of you would understand that being in this space, it has to be a repeat client, which means you have to give the best quality, right? So starting with Toshiba, with whom we've been working with almost 20 plus years, to all the new age companies like Rakuten, which is a new age Japanese companies, to any other company, as you can see, few of the names here listed out. We've been working with them in multifaceted way and multiple times. So you have to be at the best to go back to a Japanese company to get business again, right? So our association with colleges, as I indicated, has also been long standing, and some are Karnataka based colleges, some are outside Karnataka too. We have done online, offline, all the classes for them, and again, it is customized as per their need. At some places, it has been JLPT classes, at some places, it has been conversations, so on and so forth, right? So, very feel very good about being associating with so many colleges and also the top notch ones. Now, there are quite a good number of institutes in India teaching Japanese. So, what makes us different, right? So, not only giving you a 360-degree angle of learning, which is though your JLPT, that is the proficiency test, the exam that everyone would want to take, checks you only for your reading, writing, and listening skills. But we insist that the person who has come for learning with Sakura also picks up the language as a communication, and also give them lot of inputs about that land, the culture, the etiquettes required during the sessions. So a wholesome learning is what we look forward for, right? And apart from the regular textbook learning or regular learning for the JLPT, there are a variety of programs that we do. There are a variety of workshops that we conduct, which again gives you an insight about Japan. Recently, as recent as this Monday on the 26th, we had an Age of Coming Day, which is very important in Japan, right? We had lovely programs in that, which is like a hanko making, a calligraphy session, a kimono wearing session, setsubun activity. Like this, every workshop gives you a different angle of what Japan is about. Apart from that, there's a reading room. The SNRC's ecosystem is, fully into Japan, right? You will start living in Japan from here itself. That's what we bring in. Again, from a learner point of view, bilingual placements is of course one of the activities. But again, Michi, such pep talks what we bring in. This is, I think, our 36th Michi what we have conducted till now. We've brought in lots of speakers from various industries, and they bring on the table their experience, not only about jobs and the country per se, but also from a different angle. Some could speak about the learning perspective, some could speak as Divya san is going to speak, it could be from a different perspective. So you get to hear from people whom we wouldn't have thought of hearing from, and you could get to connect with them too. So that is about Michi. Of course, any learner would want to get their dream job, so we have an exclusive website for Japanese language jobs, where bilinguals only. I mean, someone who has picked up Japanese only can upload their profiles, and we would help them to get their dream jobs. So I wouldn't want to take much of your time here, because I know everyone wants to speak here from Divya San. So that's about SNRC. You can follow us. We're very active on social media. You can follow us on any of our platforms like a Facebook or Insta, so on and so forth. And you can get to know the activities that we cater to. Right. So eagerly, I am also eagerly waiting to hear from Divya San. Divya San, over to you. Again, thank you very much for accepting our invite. Over to you. You can share your screen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Rama and Ms. Otis, for the introduction and about the intro of Michi and SNRC. So, like you rightly said, we have all been traveling in different walks of life and phases of life, right? And with that, a lot of time that comes along with us is our emotions, right? And in every part of our decision making, in every part of our interaction, we go through a lot of emotions. And today's session is all about, our emotional intelligence and how we can self-regulate our emotions to ensure that we communicate better and how we can become a better person from day to day. It is not a journey that we can do overnight, and it is a continuous process. It's a lifelong process, is what I would like to say. And I'd be really happy if I can also see some faces of the attendees and the students, for the interaction. And this whole session, the next 45 minutes to 50 minutes, we are going to have a lot of interaction. I will be asking you to post your reflection or, basically how you feel about certain questions that I'm going to give it to you. And please ensure that your chat window is active enough for the interactions. So we shall begin now. I'll present the PPT. So like I said, emotional intelligence and self-regulation. So it is a very important life skill, not only to handle yourself and people around you and the work that you do or the studies that you pursue, but it will enhance your look of life, the choices that you take. And especially it will influence the outcome of these choices. So what are we going to take away today? You won't control life, but you can control how you respond to it, right? So this is something, which is a very basic quote that we all have to remember in our day-to-day lives, because every single outcome in your life will depend on how you react to it. So how we will be able to identify and name the emotions accurately is something that I will teach you today. And at the same time, how you can understand, what you're going through and why you're going through emotionally, your feelings. So, and how it hijacks our behavior many a times, especially when in anger, we really don't know what is that is coming out of our mouth and how we behave with our body language. Because you are at a peak emotion where your entire behavior is hijacked by your emotions. And how we can use simple tools to pause and regulate our emotions for better outcomes, so that we will be able to make better choices, even though we go through a stress or a situation, that is challenging. So, yeah. So I want all of you here to think silently. Have you ever reacted emotionally and then later regretted? Like, oh God, I should have not done this, or I should have done it better. And have emotions ever affected your friendships, your performance, or your confidence at any point in time? So I would like to know the response for these two questions from all of you in the chat window. So kindly share your responses, yes, no, whatever you feel about these two questions. So I will also stop sharing now just to see your response. Okay, yes and yes for both questions. Thank you. Can I have more responses from the audience so that we can understand that we are in the same page? I can post the questions for you if that would help. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So we all agree that we have regretted and we have felt the need that we could have done something better in our lives, especially in situations that were challenging. And so the gap that we take, the time and the gap that we take between how we feel and how we react is exactly talking about or defining your emotional intelligence in your life, right? So we all go through emotions, like I said. Even now, you must be going through an emotion. Okay, this madam is talking about, emotional intelligence. Is it something related to IQ? Is it something related to, only emotions and feelings? How does it help? A lot of thoughts we will go through. And along with these thoughts, there is definitely one or the other emotion that we go through, right? So the gap between how we feel and how we react will define the level of emotional intelligence that you can have as a person. So what emotional intelligence is? Let's hear about what the theory says. So emotional intelligence is the ability to understand what you exactly feel. So let's and pause before reacting. So we all go through feelings and we also react because of that feeling. Do we have the ability to pause and think that this is the feeling I'm going through and this is the way I feel like reacting? But is it right? Is it wrong? Can I do something better? Yeah, so that is a gap we are talking about. And how you choose to respond, which will protect your goals and relationships, right? A lot of times we tend to blurt out words, we tend to blurt out actions that will hamper relationships for lifelong, that will have irreversible results, right? So that is a whole cue that we need to work on our own emotional intelligence. So the truth is the emotions that we go through are very, very natural. As human beings, we all go through a variety, a range of emotions, but we generally bracket them in 4 brackets, happy, sad, and fear and angry. But there is a range of emotions that I'll be teaching you today and I'll be taking you through. And it is absolutely normal to feel what you're feeling, but how you react to it is completely under your control. Right? So that is why the reactions are optional. So what are the 4 skills of emotional intelligence that we need to adhere to or that we need to keep in mind? Self-awareness. What am I feeling now? What am I feeling while I'm going through a particular situation? What am I feeling when I am having a disagreement with my close friend? What am I feeling when I got rejected from the campus, placement that I was wanting to get into? What am I feeling when my parents don't understand what I'm trying to say? So these are some core components that we muddle with on a day-to-day basis, right? So it is very important for you to be aware of what is the feeling that you're going through. And then how can we regulate those feelings? For example, let's take a scenario where, you are best friends. Let's say, you're a 3-member team and you have 3 of you are friends. And suddenly on, one instance, the 2 members become close and the third person is slightly distant, right? So what is the emotion that we all go through in such scenario? We all go through. Can you all guess what is the emotion that we will all go through? in this particular situation? You can respond in the chat. Friends with someone, and at the same time, you have felt that you are being distant from your friends. So what is the emotion you go through? Please respond in the chat. Do you feel happy? Do you feel sad? Do you feel they are avoiding you? Okay, some do feel lonely. Yes. Unworthy. That's right. That's right. Yeah, so these are the, emotions that we go through. Sometimes you're disappointed. Sometimes you don't even understand. Why is it happening to me? What did I do? Yeah. And did I do anything wrong? Yesterday evening, everything was all right. Kya hua aaj morning? Nobody is talking to me. My two friends who were so good, they were not talking to me properly. So you go through a lot of confusion, right? So yes, so these are the different emotions that we go through, and how we can understand this is what we go through before we react. Often what we do is the moment this happens, we just run up and we tend to react, show our disappointment and negative emotions. But it is very important for us to pause and reflect that why am I going through? What am I going through? It's a simple, funda that you can practice in your life. And empathy, what might the other person also feel? So in a lot of social interactions, yeah, especially in your friend circle or in your class scenario or in your office scenario, wherever you are, when you deal with a group of people, we always tend to put our point of view first, right? And how often we are ready to give active listening to what the other person is trying to speak or the other person is trying to convey is something that we give very, very less time, to go to that line and understand people. But if you practice these skills on a daily basis, you need not invest effort. It will come automatically. It will become part and parcel of your life. Like how you have a daily routine. The moment you wake up, you check your timings on your phone, you turn off your alarm. Then if you have a habit of reading something in the morning, or if you have the habit of scrolling on social media, you have a daily routine, right? So like that, all these skill set will also become a part of your daily routine. So self-regulation, what do I do with what I'm going through? Let it be the situation, let it be the feeling, let it be anything else. What is that I'm going to do? You are the person who need to think before you act upon what you are wanting to do. Empathy, how the other person might feel, especially in a social setting or in a setting where you are dealing with people around you. It's very, very important that you understand what the other person is going through because of what you say or how you act or react. And then social skills. How do I handle this well? Yeah, I am in a situation, I am in a problem, and we all go through problems. Life is not full of rosy beds. Life is full of, ups and downs. We all go through n number of issues on a daily basis. For some, it looks very big. For some, it looks very small. So there is a small, proverb or a quote that I remember at this moment. So the moment we see a problem like a stone, if you keep the stone right in front of your eyes, it's going to look so big. But if you're going to keep it apart and see, okay, this is a problem in front of me, at the same time, you will be able to look at the opportunities to resolve the same, right? So how we handle our situations, our conflicts, our challenges, our emotions, and we react, keeping in mind the goal is something that we need to hold ourselves to. So marks, they always test your memory, but real life, test how emotionally intelligent and sound you are as a person. That's why if you see, we all have 24 hours in hand. There are some people who are highly successful. There are some people who are still trying. There are some people who lack motivation to even try, right? So the range or the difference is that how good we are in knowing ourselves and in regulating our own selves and how we deal with people around us. So these three skills will help you for life. As long as you're alive, this will come handy in your life. So yes, a lot of us don't understand why is that we feel so strong. Some emotions are really, really strong, especially when we go through some amount of trouble. That is because our emotional brain acts faster than the logical brain. We all have learned about the, anatomy of the brain, right? The physiology of the brain. So it works. Like, for example, people are, can be categorized into right side dominant brain and left side dominant brain. So we see that people who are very sound in their logic are left dominant brain. Yeah. And people who are great in their arts and creative expressions and literary are all right dominant brain people. Yeah, so these are some traits in which you can understand yourself, which part of your brain acts first, which part of your brain, tells you what you have to do. So most often the emotional brain takes over in situations that will give you stress, that you go through some amount of conflict. Your emotional brain takes off first than your logical brain, right? And especially in moments of stress, what you do in such moment is your reactions are very impulsive and is out of control. Right? That is why you all answered to me, yes, 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 for the first two questions that you have regretted. I could have dealt this differently, right? That is because your emotional brain took over than the logical brain, right? And what happens when you can know how to control it, you have to pause, and pausing will help you to regulate and control and think and connect back to logic, right? So a lot of times we go through that my feeling is important. What I think is important. What I want is important. But we fail to think that is it right for me? Is it in alignment with what I want for a long term? Right? Is it in alignment with, how I value myself? Is it in alignment with my value system in life? So there are a lot of combinations before we take a choice or a decision. If you are taking decisions or choices purely based on your emotional feeling, I'm so sorry to say that, a lot of times you might not feel right, especially after you take a decision. So always it is important to identify the emotion, connect it with the logic, and then you reflect upon your actions. So definitely we are not weak for what we feel. As humans, we are going to feel happy. We are going to feel excited. We are going to feel angry. We are going to feel sad. This is part and parcel of our life, right? And in one single day, you will go through zillions of feelings, and that comes over and over and over multiple number of times. Many times in your life, you would have told to your friend or to your colleague or to your parents, how are you? When someone asked you, how are you would have told, yeah, I'm doing great. But actually, you know within you that you're not doing great, right? But you will still say, I'm doing great. But why do you do that? Because you understand that at times, with few people, we can share our feelings truly. You feel understood, and that's when you open up. But most of the times, we feel that it's okay not to share our intense feelings because people, you tend to feel that you are not understood in the right manner. So it is absolutely fine to feel what we feel strongly because we are all humans end of the day. So we have a small activity here, name it to tame it. So think of a recent emotional moment which has triggered some stress, some anger, some fight, some disappointment, or some anxiety in you. Okay. What happened at that particular moment to you, and what emotion you thought you felt, and what emotion it actually was. Okay. So this is what I want you to think. Now, before that, I will take you through this emotional wheel. Like I told, we all, tend to bracket our emotions into these categories. I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm angry, and, I feel fearful. This is the four common words that we use. But again, when you categorize each of these, you get to understand the exact emotional feeling, right? It is not same that feeling distant and feeling frustrated are not the same. but you will still say, I was angry. It is not the same. You need to know to differentiate it, right? And feeling threatened versus feeling insecure again is not the same, right? It is very, very different. So I want you to take, time to look into this particular slide and answer to me on the chat window for these 3 questions that I have put in front of you. At the same time, I will share this emotional wheel as a, image in the chat window as well for you to download and keep it as your reference. So 3 questions, 2 minutes time is what I'll be giving you all. You can think about it and 2 more minutes for you to chat. Type it in your chat window. A recent incident, think about it. And what happened? What was the emotion that you thought you really felt? So mostly when you are answering to this second question, you will be somewhere in this. But what I want you to journey through is what emotion it actually was. Look into this particular table and type that you felt you were angry, but in actual, it was you were feeling frustrated, or you were feeling annoyed, or you were feeling, numb. It can be anything, right? So this is where I want you to journey from what you actually thought you felt and what it actually was. So I have posted the emotional wheel to all of you in the chat window. Please go through it. What you thought was your emotional feeling and what it actually was. So please answer to me for these 2 questions pertaining to the incident that you are thinking about. I was calm, but inside not happy. Ponder, please ponder over. It is always not black and white about the feelings that we go through. At times you feel happy and you feel sad both at the same time. It depends on the situation. It depends on the scenario. Angry, but actually hurt, right? But it was disrespected, correct? That's right. So I've got 5 responses so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I felt fearful, but looking at circle looks like I was anxious and deep down I was worried, right? Your journey, you're taking through a path of understanding yourself deeper. So before we move on, I will wait for 1 more minute for a few more responses and then we move on. So this is how, in a lot of situations in life, we feel that We are feeling sad, but we need to understand exactly what is that we are going through. And that will help us to understand ourselves and to react to the situation in a better manner and to handle ourselves. A lot of times, more than reacting, we need to undergo, we need to process the feeling in our minds. We need to accept it. Okay, this is what I'm going through. Confusion to take decisions is because of emotion or something else. Confusion to take decisions, we have to have a separate conversation on this. I will share my email ID and number with you and we can connect. I can go from happy to sad in minutes. And the other person was scared by it. And I felt I wasn't being accepted. So felt I was offended. Right. That's right. It's very common to feel happy and sad at the same time. And it completely depends on the situation. For example, you are very, very happy with your friend and you are with your best friend, right? And let's say your best friend is traveling to abroad for work and you are at the airport. You'll be very happy that you are there with your friend, but you'll be sad that your friend is moving away from you for better, reasons, let's say studies or work. So it is very, very common to feel more than one emotion at the same time. Please understand that. Misused, but realized I lack boundaries. Great, great, great. Thank you so much. So this is one step success that I would say where we are traveling to understanding our own selves on what we felt and what it actually is. And then we move on. Yeah. Thank you for your responses. So yeah, I'm sure, so end of this, the reflection that we have is, did naming the emotion reduce the intensity? Definitely it will, because you will have more clarity on what is that you are exactly feeling, right? For example, you were angry, but you were hurt. You were angry, but you were disrespected, right? So when you name the emotions, you will be able to exactly manage it and regulate it and respond to situations in a better manner. Was the reaction about the situation or the feeling underneath? Most often it is interconnected. Because of the situation, you go through a feeling. Right? End up in a different situation as well. Right? So both are interconnected. When you name emotions, your brain shifts from reaction to reflection, right? Instead of feeling angry, instead of blurting out, instead of shouting, you will feel, okay, like I'm hurt. I know I'm hurt. So let me process it. Let me take a pause. Let me take a break. Maybe I will stay silent. I will process this entire emotion and come back again. And then I talk about it. So that is how you start regulating your emotions. That is how you start becoming self-aware of what you are going through. Anger is one big red emotion I would call, and I would always color it red. Okay. Often it hides embarrassment, fear, or disappointment in our lives. Most often in the relationships that we deal with around with our friends or parents or anybody, social interactions, we all want to be looked upon. We never ever want to be pinpointed. We never ever want to be shamed, or we never ever want to be embarrassed. We all try to save ourselves from going through these, feelings and situations, right? But it is very important on how you understand your negative emotions further. So please save the emotional wheel that I have given you so that you can reflect upon your emotions from time to time. And emotional vocabulary is equal to emotional control. You will feel empowered. Trust me on that. You will feel empowered when you can correctly name what you're going through, right? Because more than somebody else telling this is what you're doing, you will be exactly able to tell, no, boss, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed, right? You'll be able to give clarity. You will have control on your own emotional self. So yeah, another activity for all of us before we move on to the next topic, that is self-regulation, which is a very, very small one because both are interconnected and we have been talking about it. So Trigger, choice, and outcome. Pick any two situations that you are seeing here. What was the trigger? So trigger is the situation that I've given you. What was your reaction and what was the outcome? Your friend ignores your message. You see a blue tick or you see a red tick, but you have not got response for 2 days or 3 days, right? Your teacher corrects you publicly, right? She says, hey, you don't know what you're speaking. Better you learn and come. So she's trying to correct you publicly. Your parent tends to compare you. All our parents do, right? Arey, the neighbor goes to the same school. She can get 100 out of 100. Why not you? I'm paying the same fees for you. Comparison that we have been hearing right from our childhood. Exams or any disappointment of not getting a result that you want. So for any two situations, please put in your response. What was your reaction and what was your outcome? Yeah, quickly. I'm not going to give you much time on this. Just 1-2 minutes. Proceed. So I have posted the same in chat window for all of you. What was your reaction and what was the outcome? Pick any two situation. Okay. Pick any two and respond. Your time starts now. I want to understand your reaction and the outcome for the situation. I do understand the reaction. You have put in the reaction, Ms. Impana. Please give me the outcome also. And which situation you are comparing here. Your context of the situation. Okay, teacher corrects publicly, disrespected, rejects feedback, given without even thinking whether it is right or wrong. That's right. So I'm happy to see two responses are here. So are you all still thinking? Or you're still recollecting a moment? It can be something from last night, last evening, a recent one, a heartbreak maybe. My friend is so later I ignore his messages too. Okay, what is the feeling you have gone through here? Please identify. Please identify your reaction. Yeah, Miss Anjana says friend ignores feeling angry. Action. Block the friend. Very good. Exam disappointment. You feel sad. Action. Feel I can't achieve anything and you give up. Okay, fine. Ego, you guess ego. Okay, fine, Abdul. I want you to explore further with the wheel. What is the exact feeling you have felt? It can also be disappointment. It can also be hurt. Parent compares you, you feel angry, you feel distant. You avoid conversation with parents on telling anything. That's absolutely right. A lot of us go through this, especially in our teenage while we are developing personality. What our parents feel, what our friends feel about us, what our immediate, classmates feel about us. It becomes very important to us on a day-to-day basis. Okay, thank you all for your participation and we shall proceed further. From this, what you will understand is that every single situation, it does trigger one or the other emotion or more than multiple emotions at the same time. And it is our choice to understand what we are going through and how we are responding to it. So self-regulation is nothing but your ability to pause before you react. Okay. It is not about suppressing yourself, especially, for example, I will give this example. If you have lost someone, like they can never be brought back into your life. Let's say death is the situation, right? So it is very common for people to say that, it's okay. Now he or she is no more. Life goes on. You need to learn to live with it. These are the common dialogues that we hear from people in the name of consoling, right? But what is that people try to tell you by giving such kind of dialogues? It's okay, you suppress what you're feeling. Go on with what life is all about. Your feeling may not be important. It's important for you to just move on. This is what a lot of times people try to advocate in the name of suggestion, in the name of care, or in the name of advice, right? But what self-regulation is all about, or in this particular situation, the person need to, like, what all we go through when we know that someone can never come back into our life. We will go through, scenarios of the memories that we have shared with them, the good deeds that they have done to us more than the negatives, right? And what is the impact of their absence in our life on a day-to-day basis. So this is something that we all go through in a deep basis, right? In depth, we go through these feelings. So it is important that we self-regulate our emotions and never ever suppress it. One day you can suppress, 2 days you can suppress it for years together, but it will come out in one way or the other, in one situation or the other. So, I'm sure we must have all gone through such kind of experiences in life. So it's very important that we self-regulate and not suppress our emotions. And how we can delay the response in a smart manner. So again, I go back to my slide where I have been talking about connecting your emotional brain to your logical brain. So take time, pause yourself and connect. This is the emotion I'm going through, which is the right thing to do. How do I connect both? And then you take your choice. So you don't need to control emotions. You need to control your reactions. That is what self-regulation is all about. So the 3-step tool that I can, give you as a suggestion that you can practice is how you can pause when you're going through a situation or an intense feeling and name that emotion that you're going through and then choose wisely how you can respond. So you can pause, you can breathe, you can step away from that situation, especially in all the triggers, right? When you're going through something, intense emotions, when you're going through such feeling, instead of reacting, you can just pause. So that is one of the best tool that will work for you. You name the emotion and then you choose a response, which you will not regret in the future. All your decisions or all your choices, you need to feel happy about it. You need to feel that you yourself need to respect, okay, I have done this for so and so reason. Okay, so it is important for you to feel good about the choices that you are making more than regret or resentment. So a quick 2-minute grounding exercise we'll all do. I would be really happy, if I can see you all doing, but since most of you have not turned on your camera, we will do this. I will just tell you the technique and you can practice on your own. So how you can connect your reset button is whenever you are going through intense emotion, please give this 2-minute time is only for yourself. Invest on yourself. Please sit, inhale for 4 counts and exhale for 6 counts and try to repeat it 4 times. When you do this, your brain is given a signal that you're feeling safe, right? You're feeling calm, and then you can take your decision further. So this is another technique that you can use to regulate yourself and your emotions. So now when we look at the situation after understanding how we can regulate our emotions, definitely the way we are going to respond to these situations will differ. For example, your friend ignores messages, right? Few of you told me that you have in turn blocked, you have in turn felt there is no need to speak. But if at all that friendship meant something to you, right? We can also take a step on trying to reach out for a better understanding, maybe ask for clarification, or maybe give some space, right? These are all the different choices that we can take for the situations that we go through when we know how to regulate our own self. A regulated response will definitely give a regulated and a better outcome, which will make you feel good about your own choices that you take in your life. So self-regulation doesn't change the situation. It only changes the ending. That is, the outcome is all that will be different, right? Especially when your parent compares. It is a scenario which we go through not only as students or at a young age, even as adults. Parents do continue to compare and contrast. So in such situations, we can always step back and say, Mama or Papa, please don't do this to me. This is what I exactly feel when you say that I am not good enough. I feel unworthy, but I am really good at a lot of other things, which I think that you are not seeing, or which I think that you're not acknowledging. So you can have an open conversation with your parents to make them even understand about your feelings. So give it a try before you say, oh no, it will never work with my parents. Give it a try. You will never know, it may work. And you may have a very different relationship established with anyone around you. So pause, name, and choose. So now that we have spoken so much about emotional intelligence and self-regulation, I need to hear from you. Where is it going to be useful in our real? So please tell me in the chat window. Where do you think, why do you think this is important for you to know or learn? If you would like to speak, you can raise your hands, unmute, and you can speak as well. If not, you can type your responses in the chat window. We have almost come to the end of the session. So being emotionally intelligent helps you in where? I have a question. Can I ask here in chat? Yes, you can please go ahead. Put your question. Okay, so as we are coming to the end of the session, I am working. Okay, let me quickly read that. I'm working in a corporate organization. If I want to foster a high EQ culture, what is the single most important habit to implement and why? Okay, so in such situation, it is very, very important for you to understand your own emotions. What is that you're going through? You need to learn to name it. You need to learn to word it. And at the same time, express it, and take the right choices before you react. Okay. So please pause before you react, understand yourself before you react. And it is very important for you to understand what you go through. And then you tend to make your choices or your judgments on the situation or with people. So understanding yourself, self-awareness, again comes back to the first point, self-awareness. So yeah, we'll quickly wrap up the final. So emotional intelligence will help us to handle our exam pressure. So as students, a lot of you will be going through that. You will have interview pressure. You will have pressure to perform well. Yeah. So performance anxiety or performance pressure is something that emotional intelligence, understanding yourself, will help you to handle this better. It will help definitely in your relationships and friendships because you deal with people day in and day out. It is important for you to be emotionally sound, not only about yourself, but also to understand why do people talk in the way they talk? Why do they act the way they act, right? Behind every single dialogue, there is an emotion attached to it, right? So as psychologists, we read a lot, we train ourselves a lot to see the emotion behind the words, right? So that is what we do as psychologists and not take people on what they really speak. We tend to, dwell a little more in depth to understand the emotions and feelings that they go through, right? And communication with your parents, with people around will definitely improve, and which will lead you to be a very strong team member, a good friend, or a person who can express your thoughts very clearly, right? And who can regulate yourself on how you react in challenging situations, right? You will be able to lead, you will be able to collaborate, and you will be able to grow with a lot of confidence day in and day out. Right? High IQ gets opportunities, right? For all the people who get 100 out of 100, if you think, I am great, yes, definitely you're great in terms of getting opportunities. But high EI, that is emotional intelligence, will be, you'll be able to sustain success in such situations. So this is a small activity that if you can click a picture of it, you can always practice in times where you're going through a strong emotion and you don't know how to deal with it. You can always refer back to the slide and work. So one emotion I want to understand better, one reaction I want to pause next time, and one tool I'll try this week. The different tools we have explored were pause, name, and react, and breathing techniques we have explored, emotional wheel, knowing our own selves, how to name exactly on what we think we feel and what actually we feel. So these are the different tools that we have learned today. So the strongest people aren't emotionless. They are emotionally skilled, right? So if you think that people are strong and people who are strong do not carry emotions, I'm so sorry, my dear friends, you are very wrong. These are the people who have learned how to handle their emotions very well. Okay, they are emotionally skilled. And thank you so much. This, I conclude my session. Thank you so much. So I have Anjana, who has written to me that I think having a practice of emotional intelligence and initially referring to the circle will better make us be aware of the exact feeling we go through, and this will help in addressing the situation. Oh my God, you are absolutely right. And I feel happy that you have got the crux of the session really well, Miss Anjana, and I hope it is the same with everybody else too. I have a small handout for all the participants that you can, keep it as your reference for a later stage to just refer back what is that we have dealt in this whole session. I do understand that, the attention span, even for an adult, is getting less day by day with the social media and the technology and the instant gratification that we are all going through. So I did make a handout, which I'll be sharing with all of you. So thank you so much. Over to Ms. Rama.
Thank you very much, madam. This not only helps only the students, but even adults. I mean, this emotional intelligence is like every one of us go through it every day, day in, day out, every moment, as you said. And that circle, what you have given us, is something very useful. Even as adults, even as working professionals, all of us need to look, take a pause and walk in life further. This has been very, very, I would say, a truly wonderful experience. I think every one of us have gone through. And I thank you very much for this talk, madam. We would surely look forward for many such talks, because this is something which is, I would say, a never ending area where every day we will need some advice like this, because it's in the spur of the moment we end up doing some things which we might not want to do. So as you can see, everyone is, I mean, though we have around 25 participants today, everyone is very happy about the session. We look forward for more sessions with you. I will surely connect back with you, madam. And
Thank you
once
so
again, from
much.
everyone, I thank you very much on everyone's behalf.
Sure. Thank you so much. And I would also like to inform that I also do email counseling for, if at all you are unable to reach out and if you want to maintain confidentiality and not reveal who you are, email counseling is something that I do for free of cost.
Oh,
There are no
lovely.
charges at all. So I would like to give back my learning to the society. So that's how I do it. So I will share my email ID with the participants and all of you. So feel
Please,
free
madam.
to share, if at all in life you're going through some situations where you need some help or you just wanted to speak about, you know, counselor is not a person or a psychologist is not a person who will give you problem solutions.
Very true.
We are not problem solvers, but we'll help you to reflect strongly, right? So my details I am posting here. And Rabba ma'am, I am unable to post the handout here in the chat. So
Oh, is it? Okay.
yeah, I,
You
if
can
I,
share it with us by email, madam.
sure,
Participants will put it in the Telegram group that you are all in,
sure.
and you can collect it from there.
Definitely, definitely. Then I will share it with you, ma'am, and you can
Sure,
share it with everyone in the
sure,
chat.
sure. We'll
Yeah.
surely do, madam.
So
Thank you
any
very much
questions
once
from
again.
participants, please feel free to ask. We'll be giving you one more minute and then we wrap up.
Sure. I think now they are in the thinking mood. You
Yeah,
put them
yeah,
into
let
deep
them.
thinking.
Sure, sure, sure. So thank you so much for all the, responses, for all the interaction. Though I cannot see you all or, I couldn't connect by looks, but I feel I have connected through these words and the responses that you all gave. Thank you so much.
Yes,
And
madam. It
thank you,
has
Ms.
touched
Rama, for
everyone.
reaching out and for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Sakura is very thankful to you for coming and hosting the session.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, participants. Have a great day. I hope you've taken back a lot of, the psychology wheel is something which I would surely keep it with me. I'm assuming all of you would do that. So have a great day. Thank you very much.